Okay, that's one of my solar flare tomatoes. I wanted them to get a little bit bigger, but we have a few days where there's to be clouds, maybe a little light rain. So it would be a perfect time for them not to get cooked by the heat or froze. It is cooler, but it shouldn't be freezing. One's supposed to freeze in the last freeze, and it was a bad freeze. I lost a lot. But I have quite a few tomato plants, so I'm going to try to plant another plant. And I thought I would bring you along with me in this trying to work with the weather, do gardening with the weather, working with the weather in my gardening. So here we go. Okay, here we are at my potting stand, my little potting stand. Okay, here's my tomatoes. Now, the thing about tomatoes, they say they can cross-pollinate, and you're supposed to have a big space between the different kinds. I don't have that big of a garden or that much area where I can separate them. So they may, my Mr. Stripey's may cross-pollinate with the solar flare. The Mr. Stripey's have never gotten that big. They're supposed to be a pretty good sized tomato. Your solar flare is like a beefsteak, but a different type. They may, I hope they don't, but they'll probably, and they might, cross-pollinate if I plant them close together, but I may have to. Right now I have one solar flare out there. I've got, they look like they've grown today. I watered them with some fish emulsion and they just took off. It's amazing. I don't know where I'm going to put my Arkansas Travelers and my Boxcar Willies, but I'm going to get one more one more solar flare. I've only got 2 left. I've been giving them away. That's what I get for giving all of them away. Maybe I should do a Mr. Stripey, but they're going to be right next to each other. So I'm going to take one more solar flare and plant it out there, and hopefully we don't have another surprise freeze. I'm going to save some of these in case we have a surprise freeze again for maybe a couple more weeks. We don't usually have freezes this late, but the weather is just so unpredictable right now. Anyway, I'm going to get my little handy-dandy screwdriver that I use to dig out in small places. Dig one of these out, but before I do that, I'm going to go out there and dig the hole. And then I will get my tomato plant. Okay, now we are coming around the corner into my in-ground garden. And I am going to, I'll probably may have to go get the scissors and cut that a little wider so I can dig down in there to make a good hole. I'll see what I can do. We'll see. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we can do. I've got another place there. I wonder if I should do that one. Well, I think I'll go ahead and do this end. I can always do the other later. No. All these olives have fell down, and if you see little black balls laying around, they're just old olives. That's okay, they don't hurt anything. My chickens sure like old olives. Forgot, you may not be able to hear me. I'll put a little music on for this section. Now I need to get some good dirt to put around it too. There's good dirt underneath too, but so I'll put you on hold. Okay, I just love this thing. I had 2 of them that I revamped to plant my seeds in, but the other one, the strap didn't stay. But it just makes it so nice to carry around and work with. You have to think about creating something like that. Okay, let's see. Let's do another solar flare. This one looks good and healthy. Pop it out here. Mixing the dirt. This is really good dirt. It's better than my other dirt here. right. Show you. Let's see. I can't see it when it's this way, but if you're seeing it or not, there we go. There it is. And hopefully it'll be okay. And there's my other one I did this morning. So, okay. Okay, now, gardening with the weather, since it's still cool. Wow. Wow. What that guy's problem is. Sheesh. Okay, anyway, I put my hoops back in here and some more of this. Of course, the cat's not happy. She loves to get in there and roll around and dig and poop and sleep. And so she probably don't like that I've got this on here. But what I did was I don't want to just let that set, that dirt. So I just put all kinds of extra seeds and just threw them in there. I'm just going to grow them like a cover crop, chop, and let them lay. I've got pink beans, I've got mung beans, I've got sunflower seeds, I've got flax seeds. Get back before you knock that down. I don't know. I just got all kinds of stuff. You can probably see some of them. I tried to cover them up, but some of them just didn't get covered. It's okay. What takes. What doesn't, it'll just go back into the dirt. I just want a bunch of plants to come up to fill this area to help build it up. There's only maybe 2 or 3 inches of dirt over the top of a bunch of wood, and then there's a bunch more dirt. So, I want that wood to break down. And, that's what I'm doing here. And the reason I did this now is because it's a break in the heat, and it's supposed to be fairly cool and maybe a few sprinkles here and there. So, boy, look at all the little bugs that got in there. Sheesh, I don't know if you can see it through this. I don't know what those are. Okay, entrap the bugs in there, and they'll stay in there and eat my plants. But no, it's fairly cool, and maybe all those seeds will have a chance to come up. Then I'll have a bunch of plants growing in that as a cover crop. And then I'm mainly going to plant here for a fall and winter garden, and just let it set for a few months with these plants and then chop them down just to enrich it. So, and then maybe plant it for this fall and winter. So these are a couple of things that I'm doing. I'm trying to do things along with the cool weather. Now, I also the other day, I had planted a dozen cantaloupe plants, but the birds came in and ate them. So I only was left for about 5.5, and now I think I've got about 5. 2 of them, I took these and I cut strips out and I covered. You can see the cantaloupe plant inside of there to keep the birds from getting in there and eating them. There's a few that didn't get covered, and they're still there. That's 3 right there. I had more. I pulled part of the little tags out. There was one over there. There were several down there, but they didn't make it. I still got one in that little cup there that made it. I don't think any of the others that I planted in here made it. Nope, they didn't. So those are fairly small, but I went ahead and got them planted while it's cool. And they don't like their roots messed with that much. So I just took those real small ones, seeds that were just sprouted, and put them in the ground before the roots really developed. And it's supposed to be cool, so hopefully they'll be okay. Also, I didn't take this out. This is my sungles, which I absolutely love. That unexpected frost did some unexpected damage. And I didn't take it out because, look here, and it's trying to come back from the bottom. But with a big root system, that might very well work. So I'm going to leave the branches on here in case we have another uncalled for frost or freeze. It was actually a freeze we had the other day. To kind of protect those small, these branches hanging out aren't much protection, but you'd be surprised sometimes how those overhanging might hold some of the heat down and keep out maybe a fraction. It might be just enough to protect that bottom. I'm not going to pull it now. It even bit this freeze. Look what it did to my fig tree. I mean, just look at that. It's awful. I've never had that happen. I've had this fig tree about 4 years, and this is the first year it's got figs, but it's never burnt. We've never had a freeze like this late in the year since I've been here. Okay, working with the weather, gardening with the weather. I thought now would be a good time. I got some of my lamb's ear and planted down here. Lamb's ear spreads really well. I'm hoping that it'll start growing and take over some of this area that's usually so weedy and buggy. I can't do anything with it. But the weeds are just horrible. So I'm hoping that'll have a chance to get a good enough hold in this cool weather and really take off and start spreading along this back fence some. I did plant a zucchini over here. I've got a moringa in there and a moringa over here too. It's what I end up planting there, but they're not coming up yet. But the weather's been so crazy, I think they're ducking their heads, keeping them low until the weather settles a little bit. And, I got several things here. We'll see how it all works. I got my chives there too. These were low enough to the ground. The freeze didn't seem to get them. That's a delicata. I've got a delicata in here that I will let come out the side and grow. But those are a few of the things that I'm trying to do with this cool weather. We're supposed to have fairly cool weather for a couple weeks or so. So I planted some corn salad. I planted it in several places. I think usually your leafy stuff likes the cooler weather. So I thought, you know what? I'll just take the chance. I still have some other seeds for my winter garden. But I went ahead and planted some in there. I hadn't really planned on that. I planted some more corn salad there. I planted some corn salad in there. And I planted some over here by my 2 cucumbers that made it. They're the only two that they got a little bit, they were really droopy and a little bit bit on the edges, but they perked up and they're doing really well. I planted some corn salad in there as well. Nope. I was hoping that one might have perked up and came out of it. The stem looks good, but the leaves are totally gone. I don't know if it'll put another leaf on. Your squash and cucumbers and melons, they do not like cold weather. But I'll tell you, my baby kale is really starting to take off in there. So I am not, I've got that covered so bugs and aphids and birds don't get in there and get it. And I'm hoping to have some throughout the summer like I did last year. I am trying to garden, getting along with nature, with the weather. But the weather, and I watch the weathermen, the weather, and listen to the weathermen. But they haven't been real reliable. Especially this year, it seems like. But it's all I have, and I can tell what's going on around me. Our skies are clouded right now, so you can kind of, I don't know if you can see all the clouds, but yeah. And it's supposed to be that way for a few weeks. So another cool crop is carrots. So I have some mixed colored carrots that I planted there. Now, back in January, February, I planted some carrots and they never came up, and I didn't think they were going to. And then now, I think that's just a weed coming up next to it. Let me get that weed out of there. Oh, it scared me. I thought I was going to tear my carrot up. I don't have very many of them. But I have a few of the carrots coming up. So yay, I'll have a few. And then those are just regular orange carrots. And then today I planted some of these. I'm trying to go with the weather. It's supposed to be cloudy, not too much sun. They like dark. They don't want it too cool. It's got to be, I think I read, at least 40 degrees for them to germinate. And it's supposed to be during the day. The nights are getting down in the 40s. But hopefully they'll be okay. I've been working and clearing this. I also planted some flower seeds in there, in that little pot. Ooh, I've got 3 of these babies. Good. I hate picking them. They're so pretty, but I need my calendula. I'm drying them so I can make my different things that I use calendula for. Okay, not near as pretty when the plant when you pick them, but calendula like it fairly cool too. They don't like real cold, but they like it cool. So right now is the time to get my calendula. So I am working with the weather. It's something you got to think about and do if you want to have any success. So with that, I will bid you all adieu. Whoop, I said I did that. I said I wasn't going to. Oh, look what's over there. My elder blossoms. That one underneath I might be able to pick. I think it might be, I don't know, a little bit longer. Make sure it's all blossomed out. And then I got all kinds of other little ones. The birds get to them too quick for me to get the berries, but I can get the blossoms. That's awesome. Anyway, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and I will catch you all next time. Oh, I just have to say that, I was talking about the weather and the weathermen and what have you. I also pray about my garden, and I don't know if that, I know that sounds kind of strange, but I give it to the Lord. If he chooses to hear me, I know his angels are busy fighting the bad angels, the third that fell with Satan, and more stuff that they deal with. But I still pray for my garden and hope that they'll come along and bless it. One year, I just got to say this, it come to mind. When I was in Kentucky, I took my guitar out and prayed and sang and just sat there, and it was the best garden I ever had. Coincidence or blessing? I'll leave that up to you, but it was an awesome garden. I had a huge area for a garden in, and I had so much. Thankfully, I had a freezer back then to put it in, and then my daughter and granddaughter came out and lived with us for a while, and my granddaughter, we always told her she's going to turn into a cucumber. You can't believe. Good thing we had a bumper crop of cucumbers, because that girl just would eat cucumbers like they were going out of style, which is a good thing for her to snack on and eat. But anyway, I shall catch you all next time. Bye, guys.